Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a Q&A because I've had some questions coming through recently and I thought actually I've not done a Q&A for probably since the winter, I don't know, at least 8 months. So I thought I would do one for you today. I'm also, just to give you your eyes something to enjoy, I'm going to be doing a little task which I've been putting off for so long. Look at this pillia, it's absolutely wildly overgrown. Just can't even lift it up. Look at all the babies there. And then it goes all the way up there. It's ginormous. And it's desperately needing a repot. The roots are coming out the side. In fact, I'm going to have so many babies out there. I might give some of those to friends. So I thought what I will do is repot some plants, answer your questions, and just hang out together. So I really do hope you enjoyed the video. If this is the first one you've come across of mine, I'm Lara. I'd love to have you here in this community. I share loads of videos all about affordable lifestyle and budget travel and just making a house a home on a budget and living your best life on a budget too. So come along and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. If not, then thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for those of you who have given me some questions over on Instagram, which is Lara Joanna Jarvis, as it is across all the social media platforms, of which there are many these days, let's be honest. So yes, pop over and follow me over there if you don't already. But for now, grab yourself a cuppa and get cozy and let's get into the video. Okay, so I've realised that I don't really have enough pots to do this, but I'm going to prioritise that massive one and then maybe this one because it's finally started growing. So yeah, you see the new growth there. This has been literally like 3 years of being the same plant. In the meantime, this bad boy, oh my gosh. Have I mentioned I'm not very green fingered? But in the meantime, this has grown like this. So I feel like those two need a repot. Just put it everywhere. This is gonna get messy. That's fine. Let's get the questions, shall we? Essentials, my water bottle that's bigger than my head. It's BPA free, it's 2 litres, and it keeps me hydrated. No judges here, because I love water. Well, my body loves water anyway, and as you get older, you need to keep hydrated. I'll link it for you if you like, because it is literally, it just makes me drink so much water. But, so I found this guy as well, which I'm a little bit worried about because inside, it's not looking good. And then it's sort of just, it's not looking good at all. So I don't know if they've killed it. It said, can I redeem it? This was one of the first plants that I had. I mean, it was looking good until recently. I don't think it liked, I moved it onto that gold unit and it was over there and it much prefers it over there. Anyway, so we will get to you, my friend. Don't you worry. I think that's a prayer plant. Anyway, let's get into the juice, the tea, the reason you're all here for the questions. So I just went into my archive because, oh, that was even a throwback that I shared. Look at this, so 3 years prior to 2018. Look at little George. You can tell that's George because of the frown on his face that he literally people used to come up to him in the street and be like, why so serious? He's got such a frown. Oh, that trip was one of those like such lovely trips that we went on in St. Ives. It was so nice. Anyway, I digress. Sorry, I digress. I was looking for the questions. I'm going to start off with the first one. Best way not to touch your savings. Okay, are they all going to be money related? Nope. Nope. Energy prices, house stuff, sinking funds, travel, decluttering, bloating, pensions. Yeah, we got a selection, guys. So best ways not to touch your savings. I was never a saver. And by the way, I went to put my mic on and I didn't know if it would rustle around a bit with me like leaning on the table. So I hope you can hear me all right. It's probably quite echoey because the room is high. It's a large ceiling. So I was never actually very good at saving when I first started. That is because I didn't have any like financial education growing up. I never knew how money worked, how I can make it work for me, you know, as opposed to like just working, putting your money in the bank, and then if you're lucky one day you'll be able to retire and spend what little money you've got in the bank. That's not how money like grows. It's not how you can make it work for you in the best way. So for us, we only learned to start saving when we were saving for our wedding, and we've been married 13, 14 years now. So what I'm trying to say is it's not too late, because I'm, when did we, I was like not even 30, I was like 27 maybe when I got married, and 28 maybe, and I didn't have a clue until then. So for me, I'd say it's never too late to worry about starting saving. I then got really into saving. Oh no, the sun's coming out. But yeah, basically the best way to touch your not to touch your savings, is set yourself goals. So I would say if you want to buy a house, obviously we're talking big goals here, go on a holiday, buy a car, pay off your debt, then these are things that you want to be able to work towards and get and celebrate when you get there. And it's not always going to be easy to get to that goal. So for me, it was like I had a really big reason, like when we were trying to save for this house, and it took years and years prior to obviously when we started documenting it, but we were trying to save for it, and it was like such a big goal for us that we had vision, like we had it on our vision board, on my phone, on our kitchen, fridge, sorry, and there was just always a massive reason. So like, unless you know your why, unless you have a really fierce reason why you want to do that, and I'll get onto our current financial goals in a minute, but unless you have that, then it's really hard to make sure that you can stick to it. So have it written down, have pots as well, like don't try and save, we obviously did, but it was in stages, but like if you're trying to save £50,000 to buy a house, there's a lot of money and it seems unachievable and like you can't ever get to that. But breaking it down, say you want to save £100 this month, and then building that up as you can get better with your, if you've got any debt or with your credit, borrowing or anything like that, then as you get nearer to it, it gets easier. So breaking it down, it's like revising, like bite size. That's the whole thing, right, they came out with, because doing one thing in one go is so unattainable, and it makes it too hard to even want to try and do it. I honestly think when it comes to savings, when you see that goal adding up, when you see that money adding up and you can tick off that big list and you know what your goal is, like you know what your why is, and you know that you've got this that you're working towards, that's what stops you from spending it. Because if you lock it away, and I'll talk a little bit more about like where we locked ours away, it's not your money anymore, it's saved, you can't access it, you have an emergency fund put aside, you have sinking funds put aside, talk about that in a sec as well. But it's basically to say, that's not my money anymore. I've paid myself first as a bill. That money goes out of my account before I can spend it on Deliveroo, Uber, ASOS, like whatever you want to buy. That money has been taken care of, that saving for the month. So I just felt like it was such a natural thing not to want to spend it, because it was something that we were working towards. So have your why, know that that's not your money anymore, put it somewhere you can't access it easily if you're tempted by it. And hopefully like just the knowledge that you're ticking off those big goals to get to your biggest goal is enough to not spend it, basically. But yeah, a lot of willpower and a lot of perseverance. We're having a bit of a table move around because it's really hot in that sunshine, and I don't know if it's blowing me out a little bit with the colour. Right, so I need to caveat this. I don't know what I'm doing, by the way. I literally don't know how to do this, so don't come at me if I do it wrong. But what I do know is these. Okay, I'm going to get onto the questions, and I do understand I've taken a long time over the first one, so I'm going to rush through the next. But I don't even know how to get this out. I'm going to show you the state of what this is going to look like. Oh good. Oh, gentle. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, it's really wet in there. Oh, I watered that. There she is. Actually, last time I looked, there was one that was coming out of here and up the top. I think I must have removed that one. Okay, so then, what I'm going to do is take out these mini ones, gently. This is just going to probably be a bit of a catastrophe, but let's go through it together. Oh God, don't die. Don't die. How do I get him out of the bloody thing? Everyone's going to be shouting at the screen, aren't they, like how wrong I'm doing this. Oh no. No. Got him. Ooh-wee. Okay, so that's him. Oh my lordy lord. Do we just do this? I'm hoping this is not wrong. I'm just taking the root and following it down. Oops. Here we go. Little baby. And it's not so little, is it? It's ginormous. I've got some more babies here. Oh yeah, there! Okay, there's a massive helicopter going over the top. I don't know what that route's from. So was that important? Okay, one more here. Right, this is a bit of a pressurised situation, I'm not going to lie, to answer questions. Oh dear, I think I just broke that one as well. This is a calamity. Right, what's the next question, guys? Update on bloating, still getting it, question mark, rarer, intermittent fasting helps or not? Right, okay, great question. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to panic slightly while I answer it. You know I like a bit of chaos, so let's put our soil in. There we go, and then I'm going to put him in, give him his new home. So my bloating, unfortunately, this is a really bad time to ask me, and that is because I have been suffering the last 2 days so much. It's hurt so much, but that's not a true representation because it's actually been fine for ages. And I did do a health update probably 4 months ago, and it's not really much has changed since then because it's been really good. So I've cut out onion and garlic, and I've been intermittent fasting for about, in fact, no, it must have been more than that because I wasn't intermittent fasting then. So my intermittent fasting has now been for about 4 months, 5 months probably. And I'm really, really enjoying it. And I do think it has definitely helped with my fasting. I've done with my bloating. I've done a whole video on intermittent fasting, how I do it, what it is, why I do it, and that sort of stuff. So if you haven't seen that, go over and watch that one. Otherwise, I'm going to be repeating myself for those people that have watched it. But this is going to be one of those videos that gets like a meme done from it because it's so chaotic. And I'm all over the place here. Yeah, so really pleased with it, but I'm just a bit annoyed that I've been really bloated for the last 2 days, 3 days now. This is the 3rd day and that's actually much better. So yeah, it's much rarer, but when I get it, I sort of know why, but this time I didn't know why, so that's the annoying thing because, you know, I kind of know, like, I can't have onion, I can't have garlic, but the only thing I was having, which I don't know if this would be the case because it was a white sourdough, but I had an intolerance test and it said rye was one of the key things. So I've stopped having that. And this sourdough that I got as a treat to myself, because I love bread so much, I've seen has got rye in the ingredients. So I think that may be what set me off this time. But it's just really annoying because obviously you think you know what it is. And so many of you have got in touch to say onion garlic has been your trigger as well. And now that you know it, you've not had any bloating. So that's really amazing. I'm really pleased for you all. Oh, I'm not even in shop now. This is chaos at its best. You know me. Ooh. Right, okay, let's get another question. Let me know if you do want more about intermittent fasting because I love it so much. Have you managed to dig further into intermittent fasting and female hormones, Mindy Peltz? Yeah, so I would recommend Dr. Mindy Peltz if you haven't watched any of her videos or, oh my God, or her podcast is really, really good. And so females need to fast totally different to males, and that is because the female hormone cycle is different all the time, like throughout the month it's different, whereas males is like you wake up, you know what you're going to get, you go to bed, the next day you wake up, you're going to get the same thing. So females need to track their fasting according to that, so it's always the same. It's a bit the same as how cyclically, you know, like in the January, February, March time, like it's dormant, we're all dormant, like nature is dormant, follow that. And then March, April, everything springs out the ground. So like, don't expect your body in like the depths of January in the UK, this is, to be as like productive or creative or have as much energy as like the summer months when the sun is out, the plants are out, everything is blooming. So yeah, that is all to do with the same sort of thing about female hormones and fasting. So I now know if I'm leading up to my period, I won't fast that week because it doesn't benefit me like it would do normally. So I'm sort of learning a bit more about that. I still need to get Fast Like a Girl, the book, but because she was on Stephen's podcast, the book was so expensive and I was like, I'm not paying that. So I'll wait until it goes back down. So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, lots of information on her website and YouTube channel. Would you fix on an energy deal just now? Right, this is a good one. Would you fix on an energy deal just now or wait to see if prices come down a bit? Great question. I feel like I need to do something about this before I answer it, so bear with me because one of us is not going to survive this if I don't concentrate. Okay guys, the good news is she's in, but I need to get a bigger stick. Oh, don't fall. She's like literally absolutely bowling over on that little tiny one. So I've just got a random bit of stick. The chaos in this video. And I'm gonna use that just to stop her from like snapping in half. Are plants she's or he's? I don't know. Right, okay, that's much better. I'm gonna attach you up here, and then we're all gonna be okay. You probably can't even see me. Another helicopter going over the house. Okay. My first one done. How many questions have we done? Probably not many. Where are we? Right, my official answer is I'm not in any way a professional at this. Don't take my advice as gospel. However, I can tell you what we're doing. We are not fixing yet. We are still on a variable rate because from friends of ours that work at the energy companies, they have said that it's potentially going to come down a little bit still. So we don't want to fix yet. Is that going to fit? Okay, that works. Yay. So we don't want to fix yet, but we will fix when they come down a little bit more. So yeah, basically that's my answer, what we're doing. We lost one, guys, we lost one. But we gained all of these. So I'm gonna repot those. But yeah, that's what we're doing because we've been advised sort of by friends really. Next one, any decluttering videos coming up? Yes, I need to do my airing cupboard. It's out of control. We have a plumber coming this week and you can't get in the room because there's no space in the airing cupboard for all the sheets. So they now live in front of the cupboard on the floor with all the towels. So I need to clear that one out. So that's coming soon. And I mean, there's always stuff around the house I need to declutter. Are you worried about interest rates remortgages? What a good question. In fact, we have a few about that. Yeah, lots of questions about mortgages. What I will say, am just so pleased that I pushed for a 5-year fix because the debt that we have, because obviously we were first-time buyers, that's so long, it would have just crippled us if we then had to pay 6, 7, 8, 9% on that much debt. And actually when we signed the paperwork, I remember reading it thinking, what? It literally said something like, if as a warning, if the mortgage rate goes up to, did it say 9%? Yeah, 9%, then your mortgage repayments would be something like £5 grand a month. Like, is that a joke? So obviously we're, yeah, not really that far off mortgage rates. I mean, we are. And actually today, the interest rate has just come down. Am I worried? Yeah, absolutely worried, because still in 3 years time, it could still be really high. But I will get onto this because we have another question about our next savings goal. Are you overpaying your mortgage? Which I love this question. Basically, it's a bit tricky to explain, but if you repaid your mortgage 10% every month, like your maximum that you're allowed before you get fined, that's only a one-off, that's all you can do. But you can, if you were to do a one-off payment of 10% of your mortgage value each year, you can pay off a massive chunk doing it that way. Obviously, you know, who can do that, pay off like 10% of their mortgage debt if it's a big mortgage? That's like quite unachievable, but that's what we want to focus on. So rather than doing it at the end of our term, we were going to do like a big payment. If we can do like bigger chunks, obviously like 10% would be a crazy amount of money, but if we could do bigger chunks throughout the term, so not just at the end of the term, then that's a really good way of reducing the debt monthly, because the interest you pay, obviously you pay so much money on the interest, and where you overpay 10% a month, it doesn't actually replicate, or doesn't actually, what's that word? Recalculate, that's the word. It won't recalculate your debt to say, now you need to pay interest on this amount, because it's doing it throughout the term of the mortgage. So like after 5 years, then it will recalculate. But this way, it recalculates every time you do a bulk payment. So you can only do one a year. So our goal is now to save up as much as we can. So once a year, we can do a bulk payment. that then will reduce by the time we come to remortgage in 3.5 years' time. It will mean that we don't have this huge debt. And obviously if the mortgages, the rates are crazy like they are at the moment, and maybe even more, then it would, you know, we would be unable to pay it. So that's my current goal. Obviously I'm self-employed, so, you know, we talked lots about planting. We talked lots about, you know, how to make it work financially for retirement funds and stuff like that, and pensions, and whether it's best to put it into property. But we don't obviously have enough money to do that, but there's lots of different like options for us that we're just trying to turbo save for. And now that I'm a saver, I feel that I love it. Like, I really thrive on knowing that I've got a goal, that I can work towards it, that, you know, we can do these things because we save for it. We don't spend money on certain things, and we live frugally generally. We spend on the things that, like, experiences over things, you know, like we just love to give the boys experiences and what we can give them that we didn't have growing up. So yes, current goals are that, but it's all so hard at the moment with the cost of living crisis. It's like you can't even, some months you can't save anything. So yeah, that's the current goals. Saving for a house deposit but want to have a baby. What would you do currently renting? Again, all of this video is just my opinion, but we were talking about this the other day about a friend of ours, and we were just saying, like, you would never be financially ready to have a baby. It just works out. You will find a way. Like, when a lady or female goes on maternity leave, or the dad takes paternity leave, or whatever the situation is, however they've worked it out, whoever takes the leave, you suddenly go down to, if you're not in a really well set up situation where you can actually get additional maternity pay, you get £500 a month. Like, going from that, from like a full-time wage to £500 a month. But you just do it somehow. I don't know how it works, but you do it. So I would always say, like, if you don't feel like you're ready, then you'll never be ready. But with a house deposit, you can keep saving. You can just do little adjustments. You can work it out. Like, obviously, you don't know how long it will take you to get pregnant. You may have complications. You just don't know. So if you wait until you're ready and then you're like, right, in 9 months' time I'm gonna have a baby, like, that's not potentially gonna happen. So don't put your life on hold, and potentially things that can ripple effect on other things. You may well be waiting then like 3, 4, 5 years to have a baby, and by which time it's really emotionally draining, really mentally draining, financially draining, and yeah, that's what I would say. Like, you'll never be financially ready to have a baby, but it will just work out. You will find a way. I'm talking like a sort of generalization situation, but yeah, I would say continue to save for the house deposit, and everything else will work out. Like I said, don't take this as gospel advice, just what I would do. What percentage of your budget goes towards fun and travel? That's a really good question. So we actually do it in sinking funds. So I tend to try and put as much away. So when I say pay myself first, that goes into my sinking fund for travel, for fun, for holidays. It's my 40th this year, so we've got lots of trips for that, and like lots of things going on. So I will always prioritize that as my outgoing, non-essential, you have to do it basically. I can't think of my words. Because obviously I'm self-employed, so I never know what finances are going to come in from one month to the next, but I will always have my emergency fund, and then I will make sure I put into my experiences over things fund. But it's really important. So you can't be budget, and then never actually enjoy life, because what is the point? That's like saving for retirement and then getting to retire and then you die. Like, that's really morbid, but you've got to enjoy your life along the way. And that's the same with savings. Even when we were saving for a house, we would still have, you know, things that we booked because we'd either booked way before we started our no-buy year, or that they'd already been paid off. But it's really important to enjoy life, because you only get one, and it's amazing that we're even here in the first place. So don't, scrimp on the happy times is what I would say. I need to do another pot, guys. I've got to go and get the children. Would you worried about what's your next savings goal? Yeah, done that one. Advice for your sinking funds. When you have other debt to consider? Okay, so sinking funds. So debt you need to prioritize, because if you're paying more in debt than you are getting an interest in your savings, then that just doesn't make sense. I would say you can do them both at the same time. So you can still save for your sinking fund at the same time as paying off your debt. And actually your debt is a sinking fund, like, if you want to see it that way. I would just say make sure you have things that are in your sinking funds that are non-negotiable, so you still need to have any car payments. You can do this in your emergency fund, but I would also have this in my sinking fund, so if it needs an MOT and maybe some work done, if you want to, you know, like we've got the plumber coming soon, we need to pay for that. So like house fund is a good idea. House and expenses sinking fund is good, but I would say pay off your debt at the same time. If you can only do one, I would go for the debt first and the emergency fund is like the priority, and then everything else, even if it's just £5, there's apps out there, I love them, that you can, it will automatically put them into pockets of money for you. I'll maybe do a video on the ones that I use for that. But yeah, it's again with that like prioritizing fun, having a sinking fund of stuff that's going to make you, bring you joy, keep you going, like keep you boosted, like you're working towards this massive goal, you've got this massive debt. Well, have a nice dinner out with your partner or your friends or something once a month if it's going to bring you joy, because you're a long time dead, you know? What's my friend says? You're here for a good time, not a long time. You're here for a long time, not a short time. There's a saying there somewhere. Right, so this guy can go in here. That's my new one. And that one wasn't much bigger. That one wasn't much bigger than this one when I first got it. So she's doing really well. And then I need to do this, I think. I mean, I don't know what to do with this. It's just, it's dying. It's literally dying. Okay, I've got a really good question. Hi, thinking about getting a loan to consolidate all my debt, what do you think? Well, this is obviously quite a popular way of dealing with debt. What I will say first of all is you still need to look at the reasons why you're getting into debt, or how you're going into debt, or the money behaviors around debt, because it's sort of like you want to fix the cause of it, the root of it. Obviously there's so many reasons why anyone would get into debt, and it's really easy to get into debt as well. So that's sort of like the main thing you should really consider, like why it's happened, just so you can stop it from happening again. But also look at places like Step Change, or places that can help you that aren't charging you for it, or aren't getting any benefit from you using their debt like services, basically, because it's a free thing you can get. But it will depend on whether your credit score's got any better from when you've got into the debt. If you can prove that you can pay it off, then obviously that keeps your debt is good for your credit score, right? It knows that, it shows that you can actually pay it off each month. But you'll need to check that you can actually consolidate your debt. And basically consolidating your debt basically means all your different debts you put into one debt, and you then have one bill to pay each month. But you need to make sure that bill is not high APR, or it's not going to charge you loads of money in fees or anything like that. So you're not then in a worse position. But obviously the good thing about it is that you're consolidating the debt across maybe some that are really high in APR, that you're paying loads of money back on that debt. So if you're consolidating, you can kind of like expedite how like the process of paying it off, and pay less on it as well, which is really important. So it can be beneficial, but I do think that you need to make sure you're not actually doing it for and then getting into debt again, if that makes sense, and you're not paying people for this service. It can also decrease your monthly outgoings, because you may have like loads of different debts in different places, and actually like that's going to cost you £500 a month, but doing consolidating it will maybe take it down to like £300 a month at a better rate, less bills, and actually like the pressure of having all these different bills as well is a lot mentally weighing you down. So that's a good thing. It can also increase your credit rating as well, because you're applying for a loan, you're getting a new loan, and you're paying off your old loans. So that's sort of like a good benefit from it as well. But in terms of the negative, I would just say make sure that you don't have to pay off more interest rate over time, because you may be needing to do it over a longer period of time. You may well have like added costs as well, so it may well be that you then have to pay more to do that, so make sure you don't pay for that. It may raise your interest rate, and then also because you're paying it over a longer time, you'd be paying even more interest rate, so that's something definitely to check. And I would say the main issue is that you then may well think, oh, I've got all this money I can spend now, and then obviously that's just like fostering those bad money behaviors. So that's something I would definitely keep an eye on, to make sure you are not then spending more money because you got a bigger loan, because you're consolidating. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, nothing here is financial advice. I mean, don't take financial advice from a plant killer. No, we're gonna save these plants. So this one's up next. This is a plant I painted, quite cute, but yeah, she's coming out the bottom. Definitely need to sort her out. And actually, I'm proud of you, girlfriend. I might put you in that one. Or was that a bit big? maybe a bit big. But I need to go and get the children, so I'm gonna leave this here and have a lovely surprise when I get home and forget that I left this mess out. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've got any other questions in the comments. I mean, there wasn't many personal questions, it was more like tips and stuff. So yeah, if you've got any personal questions, let me know, and I will see you in my next video. Take care, bye.